Hello everyone. Today in this video, let us discuss about the weak entity set and how to draw an ER diagram. We'll be having two types of entity set, strong entity set and weak entity set. An entity set that has a primary key is termed as a strong entity set. Primary key, you will be knowing what you mean by primary key, right? By means of this primary key, we can uniquely identify an entity in the set. Okay, so if the entity set contains a primary key, then it is said to be a strong entity set. Okay, but in some cases, in some entity set, they may not have sufficient attribute to form a primary key. Such entity set can be referred as a weak entity set. So a weak entity set is nothing but an entity set that is not having a primary key to uniquely identify a particular entity from the entity set. Okay, so weak entity set is nothing but the entity set that has no primary key. Okay, fine. Now let us consider an example, the payment entity set, which consists of three attributes: payment number, date, and amount. Okay. As you know, this payment amount cannot be taken as a primary key. Why? Because the same amount can be paid by many, right? Payment date can also be taken as a primary key because on the same date we may get different payments. So that two attributes cannot be taken as a primary key. Okay, then we'll be having the payment number. So this payment number is actually a sequential number generated separately for each loan, but the different loans may have the same payment number. So although this payment entity is distinct, payments for different loans may share same payment number. So that is the entity set. This entity set does not have a primary key to uniquely identify a particular entity in the set. So it is termed as a weak entity set. Okay, let us consider another scenario with the student entity set, which consists of student roll number, the name, and the marks scored. Okay, fine. So in this, suppose that we are going to consider the classes of both the batches, batch A and B, S3A batch and S3B batch. Okay, and if you are considering the roll number as the primary key, if you are considering the roll number as a primary key, of course, as you know, in the A batch and in the B batch, we'll be having the roll number 1. So by means of this roll number alone, we cannot uniquely identify the entity, right? By means of the roll number 1, we'll be getting two values, right? So that entity set is termed as a weak entity set because it does not contain a attributes or set of attributes to uniquely identify a particular entity. So such entity set can be called as a weak entity set. Okay. Every weak entity must be associated with another entity set termed as owner entity set, also called as identifying entity set. That is, this weak entity set is said to be exist only based on the owner entity set. It should be associated with an owner entity set. Okay, so this identifying entity set is said to own the weak entity set that it identifies, and the relationship between this owner entity set and the weak entity set is termed as identifying relationship. Okay, so this identifying relationship is many to one from the weak entity set to the identifying entity set. We already know the mapping cardinality, right? Many to one is the relationship from the weak entity set to the identifying entity set, and the participation constraint is total. That is, every entity in this weak entity set should participate in the relationship. That is, that's why the relationship is total. So the identifying relationship is total. Okay, so the identifying relationship is many to one from the weak to identifying set, and the participation is total. Example, the identifying set for the payment scenario, payment entity is loan, and the relationship is loan payment that associates payment entities with their corresponding loan entities in the identifying set using this identifying relationship. Okay, so this loan entity is the owner entity set and the payment entity is the weak entity set. So the identifying set or the owner entity set of the payment is loan, and it is associated, these two entities are associated using this identifying relationship termed as loan payment. That is, every payment entities is associated with its corresponding loan entities. Okay. The set of attributes in the weak entity set that distinguishes among all the entities in the weak entity set is called as a discriminator or a partial key. I'll be saying it once again. The set of attributes that distinguishes among all the entities in the weak entity set is called as a discriminator, also called as a partial key. So this key is a partial key because why it is called as partial, because the weak entity set is said to be existent, it is said to be existent dependent on the identifying entity set or on the owner entity set. That is, this weak entity set is always dependent on a strong entity set which consists of a primary key. Right, the set of attributes in the weak entity set that distinguishes the entities in the weak entity set can be called as discriminators. Okay, the set of attributes in the weak entity set that distinguishes among the entities in the entity set itself is called as a partial key or the discriminators, and it is only a partial key. The primary key of a weak entity set is found by the primary key of the strong entity set plus the weak entity set's partial key. Okay, as we said, this weak entity set is always existent dependent on the identifying entity set, always dependent upon the strong entity set, right? So this weak entity set is always existent dependent on a strong entity set which consists of a primary key. So to form the primary key of a weak entity set, what we have to take, we are combining the primary key of the strong entity set with the partial key of the weak entity set. Okay, so the primary key of the weak entity set is equal to the primary key of the strong entity set plus the weak entity set's discriminator. Okay, that is, we use the identifying entity along with some extra attributes called discriminator to uniquely identifying a weak entity. So to uniquely identifying a weak entity, we are in need of a primary key, and that one is formed by the primary key of the strong entity plus the partial key of the weak entity set. Hope the point is clear. Partial key of the weak entity set plus the primary key of the strong entity set forms the primary key of the weak entity set. Okay, fine. This weak entity set can be depicted by double rectangles in the Chen's notation. It is represented by the double rectangles. Okay, and the payment number is as it is the discriminator, it is represented by the dashed line. Usually the primary key is represented by a line underlined, right? The loan number is a primary key and it is represented by, it is lined, right? Similarly, a dashed line is used for representing this discriminator. Okay, and the primary and this identifying relationship is represented in double diamonds. This loan payment is the identifying relationship. It is represented as double diamonds. Look at the diagram. From the payment to the loan payment, it is shown as double lines, right? So this double lines shows that the participation is total, and this arrow shows that it is a many to one relationship from the weak entity set payment to the strong entity set loan. That is, payment from the payment to the loan, we'll be having the mapping constraint as many to one. many to one. Okay, this arrow always indicates that it represents one, right? So from the payment to the loan, it is many to one, and the participation is total. And the weak entity set is represented by double rectangles. The dashed line is used for representing the partial key or the discriminator. Okay, that is the case of Chen's notation. Then in the cross notation, we will be having this identifying relationship is always represented in the double diamonds. Okay, it is represented by the double diamond, and the discriminator is underlined with dashed line rather than a solid line, and the double lines is used to indicate the total participation. That one is also as same in the Chen's notation. The only difference is that how we are going to represent the entities. The entities are not represented by the rectangles here. By the divided rectangles are used for representing the entities. The attributes are represented in the second part of the rectangle, right? And the entity name is represented on the first part of the rectangle. And this primary key for the section, this section is the weak entity set here. From the session to the course, the relationship is many to one, and the participation is total. And the primary key of the session is the primary key of the strong entity set course, that is course ID, plus the discriminators of the weak entity set, section ID, semester and year. So the primary key of the weak entity set section is the discriminators plus the partial key, primary key of the strong entity set. Okay. Okay, as of now, we'll be knowing what is an entity, how to represent entity in the ER diagram, relationship, attributes, the different types of attributes, keys, the weak entity set and strong entity set, the identifying relationships, the mapping cardinalities, the total and partial participation constraints, etc. Right? So, how we are going to represent use all these into our ER diagram? ER diagram is nothing but the logical structure or the diagrammatic representation of a ER database, ER model. Okay, and so the major components of an ER diagram are rectangles, which can be divided into two parts. The first part represents the entity set, and the second part represents the names of all the attributes. And the second one is undivided rectangles. It is used for representing the attributes of a relationship set. Diamonds are used for representing the relationship sets. Double diamond are used for representing the identifying relationship sets. Lines are used for linking the entity set to the relationship sets, and the double lines are used for indicating the total participation. Okay, so these are the major components of an ER diagram. We are discussing about the cross fruit notation. Okay, now look into how to draw an ER diagram. Once if you are given with a scenario, from the scenario we have to identify the entities. Okay, so the first step is we have to identify all the entities in the system. So then give a proper name for identifying the entity. The entities are represented in ER diagram using rectangles, right? So we have to create rectangles for all the entities. Okay, the main point is that this entity should appear only once in a particular diagram. An entity should appear only once in a ER diagram. Okay, so after identifying all the entities, we have to find out the attributes for the entities, right? What all are the properties that these entities are going to be described with? So find out all the attributes, give meaningful attribute names so that they could be understood easily, right? So we might find out the different types of attributes also. If you're having the derived attribute or symbol attribute or composite attributes, make sure that all the types of attributes are specified in the rectangle. The second part of the rectangle will be used for specifying the attributes in the cross foot notation, right? In the Chen's notation, these attributes are represented by ellipses. Okay, fine. After identifying the entities and the attributes, we have to find out the relationship between the entities. So these relationships are represented using a diamond. So we have to add a diamond in the middle of these entities. to describe the relationship and connect them using a line. Okay, so a line is used to connect the entities to the relationships. Okay, so this is the three steps that we have to take care to draw an ER diagram. Okay, now let us look into a scenario, a database for a university. So we are going to draw the ER diagram based on this scenario. So the first step is we have to identify the entities and we have to identify the corresponding attributes, right? Then we have to identify the relationships between the entities. Yeah, now let us look into this scenario. The university is organized into departments and each department is identified by a name, the location, that means the building, and has a budget. So we got one entity, right? We are going to have an entity named as department and the attributes is also specified here. Department name, building, budget, etc. Right. So that's the first entity. Then each department has a list of courses it offers. Right. Each course has associated with a course ID, the title, the department name and credits and may also have prerequisites. Okay, so we got the another entity, we identified another entity called as course and the attributes are also specified there. Then the next point is instructors are identified by their unique ID and each instructor has a name, the associated department name and salary. So we identified another entity called as instructors and the uh, attributes are the instructor ID, the name of the instructor, the associated department name and the salary. So the associated department name, that means it is a key that refers to the entity departments. That means it is a foreign key, right? So we have to get an idea about that one also. The attribute which can be a foreign key, which attribute can be taken as an primary key, all that have to be identified from the scenario itself. Then students are identified by their unique ID. Each student has a name, associated department name and the total credits the student earned so far. So another entity that described for the students. Then university maintains a list of classrooms specifying the name of the building, the room number, room capacity. Entity called as classroom and the attributes called as building name, room number and the room capacity. Then the university maintains a list of all classes or the sections taught. Each section is identified by a course ID, section ID, year and semester and has associated with it a semester, year, building, room number and time slot ID. Okay, so we are saying about the sections. So we can find it out that it is a weak entity set. The department has a list of teaching assignments specifying for each instructor the sessions the instructor is teaching. The university has a list of all student course registrations specifying for each student the course and the associated sections that the student has taken. So this is the scenario given. We identified some of the entities, right? So by reading out the scenario again and again, we can identify all the entities, the associated attributes with it, and we have to identify the relationships. Okay, how this instructor is going to related with the classroom or related with the department. So if you're having any relationships, that one also has to be identified. Okay, from the above scenario, we identified the various entity sets: the department, the course, the instructor, the classroom, section, student, time slot. So these are the various entity sets that we identified and the attributes identified are also specified here. So we identified 7 entity sets and the various relationships between the entity sets. The instructors with the department, we are naming it as instructor department. The relationship with the students with the departments, we are naming it as student department. The instructors with sections, we are naming it as teachers. Make sure that we are giving a proper attribute name or proper relationship name which can be understandable, easily understandable by a third person also. So the first step is we have to identify the entity sets. Second step is associate or find out all the attributes that describes this entity sets, identify the keys, identify the type of the attributes, etc. Okay, then find out the relationships between these entities. Okay, after finding out all these relationships, we are going to draw an ER diagram. Will be knowing that the entity sets can be represented by using an undivided divided rectangle. Entity sets are represented by using a divided rectangle, and the relationship sets can be denoted using a diamond, right? Entity set, this it is a divided rectangle. The first part defines the name of the entity set, and the second part defines the various attribute names. So in the second part itself, we can specify the keys also. We can specify the type of the attributes also if you're having any. Then the diamonds is used for representing the relationship set, and the lines can be used to connect the relationship sets with the between the entities. Okay, make sure that while drawing these lines, we are considering the mapping constraints also. Cardinality ratios should also be mapped onto the ER diagram. So by after identifying these entities and relationships, we are going to draw the ER diagram. So as we said, we'll be having 7 entity sets. So we are drawing 7 rectangles. The first step is we are drawing 7 rectangles in the divided rectangles in the diagram. So the top part of the rectangle specifies the entity name, and the bottom part specifies the attributes along with the key attributes. The key attributes are specified using underlined name. Okay, fine. Make sure that the entity appears only once in the ER diagram. Okay, fine. So we'll be having only 7 entities. So 7 rectangles should be there. Only 7 rectangles are there in the diagram. Fine. After drawing these entities, we have to link this relationship between these entities. If the instructor is related with department through the instructor department relationship, right? So we have to specify the relationship using the diamonds. So we already identified the various relationship sets. All the relationships are represented using the diamonds, and we are linking that one between entities using a line. Okay, the double line is used for representing the total participation. Every instructor must associate with a relationship called instructor department relationship. That means every instructor should be um, there in a department. Every instructor should participate in this relationship. That is why it is given as the total participation. The double lines are used for representing the total representation. And look at that mapping cardinality. It is many to one. Many instructors can be associated with a single department, many to one department, right? So make sure that all the mapping cardinalities, all the participation constraints, all the type of relationships are also specified. Type of relationships means we can have unary relationship, binary relationship, ternary relationship, etc., right? So all these type of relationships can also be specified in the diagram. If the relationship is having any attribute, then we can specify that one using undivided rectangle. If it is having any attribute, we can do that one. So look at that. Takes is a relationship, and which consists of an attribute called grade, and it is connected by a dashed line, right? It is connected by a dashed line. Okay, that's all about the ER diagram, the representation of a university ER diagram.